Peggy 18.
What's going on, guys? My name is Matt, or McSportzHawk. We're here at Infinity Ward with the man himself, Lee Ross. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to be here as well. It's going to be, we got a couple minutes to play some of the new map, Shaolin Shuffle. I'm excited to talk to you about it. Got some questions from the viewers. I'm excited to see how good you are at the map yourself. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. So we'll start up here. Who are you playing with?
Got a couple of awesome guys upstairs that are going to help keep Mr. Ross alive today. We got Adrian, Sandoval, Travis Ramon, and our newest addition to QA, Dylan, who's hanging out with us upstairs. They're going to take us through the big rotten apple and hopefully not let the Rat King and his minions chew on my brain today.
Gotcha. Well, I actually got some questions ahead of time from some of the people that, you know, tend to like the game a little bit.
Yeah?
So we can go through some of those. I know a lot of people are going to want to know about this Easter egg, but I've decided to keep it up to us to figure out what's going on there and not question you too much about that. So my favorite comment was, there's a tiger, a crane, a snake, but why no panda?
Oh, we would have loved to have Panda style. I mean, come on.
Panda style would have been great, right?
Kung Fu Panda, exactly. It would have just been perfect.
Is that why?
I could see him running around. Instead of a katana, he's just got a shoot of bamboo running around. Be awesome. Be really awesome if you could turn into the panda. That'd have been something else.
Is that some kind of forecasting hint we have here?
If only.
Right?
Yeah, you know, and also don't forget that dragon style, man. Dragon style, ridiculous in this game.
I think that's probably the best one on the last cheap hour for sure. I think the snake's my favorite though. What would be your favorite?
I'm gonna go dragon. I mean, summoning a golden dragon and having it just obliterate the environment there's nothing like it.
I think it's real important for revivals, especially. You can't be touched. Really.
Oh yeah.
So that's good. But I think the snake. I like the skeleton a lot. Skeleton guy is my best friend. So.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to have that extra homie running around with you, right?
Yeah, it definitely helps out. It's kind of a lazy man's toy, you know. You just let him run around and kill him for you. So that's always good. But so I guess the biggest question I got most of the time was the Easter egg. How long is it going to take us to complete this one?
Oh man, that's a fantastic question. Well, what's really cool is you know, the team and myself, we've been really paying close attention today, watching people's various streams going on, and no one's actually solved it. And
no, not yet.
You know, we kind of got a little bit of some jabs to the side on Raven the Redwoods for some people that had completed it pretty quick. We had I think the fastest time was 6 hours. We were all super impressed. We love seeing the community come together and, you know, put 2 and 2 together. You know, we really try to bury these things deep, but also at the same time create an experience that is something that engages everybody, all walks of game players. So it's nice to see that there's still a challenge out there for those that love to dig deep into these Easter eggs.
Yeah, I'd say for myself and other influencers in the space, we definitely like having that challenging Easter egg. That's not too hard where it's just, you know, tedious, but it's also definitely a challenge. So if you had to give a time, how long do you think it would take?
Well, it's amazing that you asked that question because the team actually, we have a wager wall going on right now.
No.
So right now we have a whole bunch of people trying to figure out what do they think it is. So I think a couple of people that were, because of Raven the Redwoods and how fast it got solved, we had a couple of people that came in around 6-7 hours. But we have a few people that are thinking it's going to take days and days to do this thing. So I am personally one of those people where I think my guess is probably for the really savvy and maybe even just a little bit lucky. I think it's going to take about 3 days, maybe even more, to get to you know, the cutscene and actually see what this whole thing is about. So
interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of content in here, and as always, you know, it's not just about the big giant Easter egg. We have lots of other little Easter eggs hidden throughout the area. So it's all about everybody digging in and getting the experience of all of those little things.
Gotcha. Very nice. So you'd say, with that guess, maybe this is the hardest Easter egg of the 3 maps so far?
I think that's possible. You know, it's always dependent on skill set and, you know, the luck of the Irish, as we call it. You know, it just depends on, are you going to be able to find that one thing and accidentally see that, it actually applies to this other thing over here. So, yeah.
Accidentally.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You know, you spoke of Luck of the Irish. That reminds me of these new Fate and Fortune cards. You want to talk about those a little?
Oh, yeah. So, of course, Luck of the Irish. So, Irish luck. So, one of my favorite cards that we've introduced thus far. It's something that all players can actually get to experience. So even if you're not playing Shaolin Shuffle, you want to take that into Raven the Redwoods or Zombies in Spaceland. For those of you that are not part of our DLC, I hope you join us for the season. But you guys can actually take it in and play it in those maps as well. And what this card does is it really gives you the ability to see anything that we've made available in the Fate and Fortune arsenal. Now, of course, because it's sort of a risky thing, it could also give you something that you're not too excited about. So if you're not too excited about, spawning a carpentry power up in front of yourself, unfortunately, that may happen to you. But it also could mean that you get something really, really crazy and epic. So it's one of those cards that it's a big chance, but it also could play out in your favor. So really, really cool.
Definitely. So the theme is New York City. Do you want to talk about where you guys got the idea to place it here specifically? And, the fighting styles are obviously a big part of the lore of the map, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What made you guys decide to do that within New York City specifically?
Well, really, it's about our time traveling, right? So we've kind of set the stage that we were going to be moving through time, starting with Zombies in Spaceland in the 80s and then the 90s with Raven the Redwoods. The easy thing that people would have guessed is that, well, they went to the 80s, then in DLC 1 they did the 90s, so it must be they're going to do the 2000s, right? That's got to be the next thing. And really, on Twitter, it's like, that's what I really saw. On Reddit, that's what I saw. Everyone's guess was, oh, they're going to the 2000s. It's going to be, Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something like that. And, this was our curveball. Going back further in time into the 70s was, we want to keep players kind of on their toes. You never know what's going to come from the Zombies and Infinite Warfare team. And this was our opportunity to say, you think you know what we're going to do, but actually what we're going to do is this. Now, when we figured out that time period and we said, 70s is something that we'd really like to do, going through and thinking about, now, where do we want to be? New York in the 1970s was really a deadly, scary place.
Really?
I was born in the 70s.
Okay.
Old guy here.
I wasn't.
I was born in the 70s. So growing up in the early 70s in New York City, it's not the New York City that you see today. It's not the New York City where it's this big, giant tourist attraction where you come and see the Statue of Liberty and check out the Empire State Building and come and eat pizza. New York City, they actually dubbed it Fear City. Actually, when we start this map, we actually name it, Welcome to Fear City.
Right.
There was a period of time where, when the street lights were on, the police basically said, if you were outside, we're not even going to help you. Like, if something happens to you, we're sorry.
What?
The police didn't even want to roam the streets because people were attacking and harming the police. So we had these group of people called the Guardian Angels that came out, and they were just regular citizens that became vigilantes that guarded the subways and protected people from all of the unscrupulous things that were going on in the city at that time. So really going back and wanting to explore some of that rowdiness. Looking at films like The Warriors, you saw that New York City was actually overrun with a serious gang problem at that time. So we wanted to put players into a setting that not only was it a little bit unsettling, just seeing all this sort of death and destruction, but it's a believable real location. This is actually what was happening during this time period. If you watch shows like The Get Down, for instance, which is out right now on Netflix, you see they're showing the Bronx, and it's these bombed out locations within the city that are it's really unlike anything that you would have expected New York to be like. So it was, for me, this is going back home. I wanted to make sure that we had all the key landmarks, and we had the things that really made it feel like New York, like looking over and seeing the Brooklyn Bridge or the Chrysler Building.
I didn't even notice that playing it.
Yeah, so there's all the little things that look in the skybox, seeing the Empire State Building, seeing the World Trade Center, all of those things that were the major landmarks of the era at that time. So, just looking around this space and running through it, all the graffiti, all the filth and just dirtiness to the city. This is what New York City was all about at that time.
What was the reasoning for it being so chaotic at that time? What changed? What changed from then to now that is the reasoning why it was so ridiculous back then?
One thing, money. The biggest thing was money. New York City was really just full of the city just couldn't take care of itself. I mean, there were just pounds and pounds and mounds of trash everywhere because you didn't have regular garbage collection because the city couldn't afford to run garbage services. I mean, it was just a big problem with money. And now you look at the city now, and there's just this massive amount of money that's pouring into the city that is, for all intents and purposes, making the place a nice place to visit. Back in the 70s, New York was not such a nice place to visit. So it's really interesting getting a chance to explore the time period when it wasn't such a nice place.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's a good little bit of history for myself as well. I think a lot of the viewers won't know that either, just because we're obviously born a little bit later on and didn't experience that time, which is cool. Do you want to talk a little about Pam Grier and what her role is in the game and why you guys decided to work with her specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So Pam, being the amazing actress that she is, during the 70s, Pam Grier was a major icon. I mean, when you go back to that time period, there really wasn't a lot of opportunity for young black females or young black males to really be seen in the public limelight in a positive light. And so Pam was one of those faces that she gave a very positive influence for young black females, I think. And I think really she was the face of that era. If you look back at the blaxploitation films, whether it was the films that she was in, like Coffee, really it was about defining a personality, a persona. And Pam really showed that women were these strong, capable individuals. And I think that was what was really exciting. If we're going to bring Pam Grier or anybody into Fear City, we got to bring someone that's known for being tough, known for being strong. And so going back to that time period and having Pam be there with us for this ride, it really just makes the whole experience feel more cohesive. It feels like we're actually revisiting the 1970s with her. On top of that, because her role, she's playing the sensei in this episode, we wanted to play up the fact that she played a heroine in most of her films. She wasn't the villain. She was the person that was coming in and saving the day. And that's kind of what Pam's doing here. We need Pam to help us learn all of these different kung fu styles, all these different kung fu moves, and then ultimately take on the big baddie of this big rotten apple, a.k.a. the Rat King.
The Rat King. I love that you chose a rat. I'm a fan of rats, so personally I like it a lot. But that's cool.
Well, New York was a big fan of rats in the 1970s.
That makes a lot of sense why you chose the Rat King, but I personally just have... I love the word rat. That's really the thing when it comes down to, so that just worked out for me. I guess when you guys were making the map, what was the most challenging part of it? What was the most... where'd you get some inspiration from? Obviously, we talked about 1970s and what was going on, though, in New York City, but what was the most challenging part of making the map?
I think what's always the most challenging is making sure that the gameplay space has a lot of variety, number one. But then it's also that it's fun to be in this space. We want to offer different types of experience. So, coming from each of the previous maps that we released, whether it be Zombies in Spaceland or Raven the Redwoods, those maps play inherently different from each other. And so we wanted to marry some of the lessons that we learned in both of those spaces. So you'll notice that in Shaolin Shuffle, there are spaces that are wide open. And then you also have these tight, really confined spaces that are more like Raven the Redwood. So it's kind of taking those two things that we've taught you throughout this time. You've learned that you're going to have open spaces to kite zombies into and kind of feel safe and comfortable. But then also that you're going to have these really tight, narrow spaces that you can train zombies in. And then with the right firepower, with the right equipment, you can turn around and really lay waste to them.
Absolutely. I think you've definitely, I can see that you've definitely taken the last two maps and what we've learned from what works and what doesn't with the community and put it into this map. I personally like this one the best so far, playing through. Do you have a favorite?
It's like picking our favorite kid. We love them all. I think they offer different experiences. There's something in each of them that's really special. But, when you have something new like Shaolin Shuffle, it's really exciting to get out and experience things that you've never seen before. So right now, we're enjoying the fact that we've provided something new to the community, and they're getting to, whether dive into Easter eggs, whether it's to rank up further, just explore the map, or just survive waves. We're really excited that they're getting new content and experiencing new things within this universe.
Awesome. You just found something over there.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder what that could be.
Look at all these
yeah, you got some stuff.
Cool things that you can find here.
Cool things that you can find here. So cryptic.
I know. I mean... We really love the fact that players want to know what to do, where to go, exactly what they need to do. But at the same time, there's a lot of value in the fact that, you're going to spend time looking for these things yourself. You're going to dig into these locations and that moment of, oh, wow, I found something. I didn't know that you could do this thing. So that moment of discovery, I think, is really important. So we want to make sure that players have lots of opportunities to do that. And this map is chock full of opportunities like that.
Gotcha. So all the characters have obviously whole new wardrobes, but it seems like they also have slightly different personalities than they did in the last 2 maps. Do you want to touch on that at all? Is that important to the Easter egg, the storyline, or is it just strictly towards this map that they're having their own kind of personas that are different than what we've seen in the past?
No, I think that is important. I think that is telling of the storyline as well. You know, in this particular episode, we really want to dive deeper into the experience of what is actually happening to these characters. What are they going through? What is it like being in this experience that Willard Wyler has placed them in? So we're going to dive into their backstories quite a bit more into this episode. You'll have opportunity to kind of really figure out who these people are, why they got into this situation, and ultimately, you know, what they're really about. So we're going to test their mettle quite a bit. I mean, even the simple things like learning Andre's last name, that his name is Andre Wright, as an example. So seeing it on the driver's license, you're going to get to find out a lot more information about the characters, and then also, like I said, just dive deeper back into their bios.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, I like that. I like the addition of the New York State driver's license as the name card. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so you haven't died yet. I'm surprised. I feel like you would have died by now. I know I'm pretty bad at talking and playing focus at the same time. It's definitely a challenge.
It can be. It can be. Do it once or twice, and you know, who knows? You might get good at it.
Have you completed your?
I can't believe I'm alive this long. I'm just kidding.
I was told you're not very good while talking and playing at the same time, which I was like, that's me right there. That's the same exact thing for me. It's one or the other. I can either focus on being really good in the game, or I can be entertaining and talk a lot. But you're doing a great job here, and playing with you know, some legends as well. So that helps out.
Yeah.
But have you completed your you complete the dragon yet? I guess you switched over to dragon.
No, I switched over, and I haven't picked up I switched over to a different type because I want to mix it up just a little bit. So
Gotcha.
I'm going to go into my tiger style here in a bit.
So you just passed the new perk there. You want to talk about that at all?
Oh, did I do drops? Absolutely. In fact, let's take a good look at that machine. Yeah. So did I do drops? The whole idea here is, you know, we wanted to introduce a new perk. We did softly introduce some new perks in Raven the Redwoods via our memory charms. But we wanted to give something that the community has really been asking for, and that's, let's get a new candy station in this map, and let's really actually have something that I can walk up to, interact with, and it traditionally is one of those perks. So Did I Do Drops is going to help those people that want to get those snappy headshots. ADSing has some benefits, so while you're ADSing, the longer you ADS, you know, you're getting some benefits there. Okay. It's a great addition to the arsenal. It's one of those things where in this map, when you're doing, especially when you're running a nice zombie train behind you, for those guys that love to play with snipers, less recoil, you run a train down these long aisles and just boom, one shot through the head, and you can really, really lay waste to a nice group of zombies.
Gotcha. That's good to know. So definitely picking that up is a little bit more beneficial than you might think.
Yes.
Cool. I can't help but ask. We were playing the other day, and we heard a quote. Can't remember who it was from, but it was "Cash Me Outside." Where did that come from? Whose responsibility was that one?
Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I have teenage daughters, and unfortunately, pop culture stuff like that makes its way into my eardrums, and it was too good not to include. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, so I thought we take our own spin on it, and definitely there is some reference to that craziness that has overtaken the internet.
I think it fits well.
Yes.
So, chat, if you guys want to give me any questions you guys want to have answered right now that I haven't covered already with Lee, let me know. If there's anything you specifically want to see that we can do here, let me know as well. I think one other thing I wanted to ask about personally, when we were trying to solve some Easter egg type stuff, do you know Chinese?
I do not. But there are things, you know, that you might have to learn another language in this map. You might need to know a thing or two about another language. You never know. There's always stuff hidden around these places where we require a little more than just the average player.
Interesting. I have a feeling Chinese will be something I should be picking up sometime soon if I want to solve this one.
Special shout out to David Savage. He has one of our designers. He set the bar high. So if you guys are having a hard time finding this stuff and figuring out some of these languages, David Savage, much love to you, baby.
Very nice. So they want us to talk about the crafting stations. I don't know if you can touch on those too much.
Yeah, so of course, crafting is back. There is the ability to bring some really new, some nice goodies into this map, as you know, our old favorites as always. But yeah, we went through a retheme with crafting, and it works a little bit differently now. Typically, you could go to a crafting station, and there were varying things that you could do at a crafting station. So I could pick up, you know, a sentry gun or a boombox or whatever. Now the crafting stations are more set up to be very specific. So you're going to have set locations where you can get specific goodies within this map. And it looks like our peep show has just opened up. I don't know what could be in here, but there's always interesting things inside of a peep show.
I wonder.
New York was a seedy place in the 1970s, so I have to say there was a lot of peep shows. 42nd Street littered with peep shows.
Yeah, I like what you do with the different little places you can go to. We won't say what they are. I'm not sure anyone knows what they are at this point, but.
And of course, the underbelly of New York City is an important thing too. So of course, we've got the underbelly of this horrible place, the sewers.
Yes.
And of course, this is a lovely nod to our favorite mutant ninja turtles. If you're going to do New York City, you're going to do Kung Fu. You got to have a sewer. Come on.
Absolutely. You got the subway there too, which has taken a couple of my friends without them knowing.
Oh, yeah.
Comes and sweeps you right off your feet.
That subway, it's a whole lot of fun until you're standing in front of it. And of course, these special rounds, we've got these roller skating exploding zombies. So this is a nod back to our clown rounds from Zombies in Spaceland, where we have enemies that just launch themselves at you and detonate. You know, we went a little bit of a different route. We got our skeleton running around. We went a little bit of a different route when we went into Raven the Redwoods with the Sasquatch with the Yeti. But there's something really interesting about the guys that can just run up to you and cause you instant damage by detonating. The Yetis, the Sasquatch could just really surround you and cause you some trouble. But it's really fun, especially because we're in the 70s and roller skating was such a big thing during that time period. It's really fun just watching sort of the very overly silly animations of them roller skating through the environment as they come in, sort of C4 detonate in your face.
So we're getting some inquiries about the melee weapons. I'm not sure we can talk about those or not.
Yeah, so we've shown them in the trailer.
Right.
So we definitely have some new melee weapons that you can acquire within this map that can really, really put things in your favor. By far, I think my favorite just to look at is our nunchucks. Our nunchucks are just absolutely stunning. What can you do with those nunchucks? Besides lay waste to the zombies, I highly recommend taking them into the Pack-a-Punch room. When you find that, you're in for a really special treat with those.
Interesting. Okay. Nunchucks and Pack-a-Punch room. You guys heard it here first. A lot of Easter egg questions, as I expected. Not so sure you want to go too deep into those.
No, but we'll talk about one, the introduction of Skullbuster. Because, of course, if Ghosts and Skulls 1 and Ghosts and Skulls 2 were out in the 80s and 90s, we couldn't exactly have Ghosts and Skulls 3 in the 70s, right? So welcome to Skullbuster. And just a little bit of a hint for you guys. Man, that Skullbuster screen is awfully dirty. It is awfully dirty. Oh, Mr. Ross is down.
The first down, 13. That's 13. Pretty good. I'm impressed with that.
In the disco, you know, I'm going to blame the disco music because I'm not a fan of disco. So listening to the disco, that was it for me. I need some punk rock.
That, and you were trying to figure out how to clean off the Skullbuster machine.
Yeah, the Skullbuster machine. All that blood on the front of it. There's, yeah. I don't really like playing arcade games with blood on the screen, you know?
Yeah, it's probably pretty tough and pretty gross.
I'd imagine, yeah.
Hey, you guys are killing in the chat right now. I'm trying to keep up. So, this is a good question. Since they're in a movie, is there any connection between what's happening in the movie and in real life?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
Since we're, Willard Wild, we're in this movie, technically. We're in this film.
Yeah.
Is there any connection between what's going on with the films and what we're doing in the map specifically? I guess it's kind of more of a question about what we're looking at with the storyline, the overarching storyline with Willard Wyler. This is the third film. Can you tell us anything more about that?
So, of course, Willard Wyler has us trapped in these films, and this team of 4 is really trying to find their way out of this experience. You know, while it might sound awesome to say, oh, man, I would love to be in that movie, under these circumstances, this is an extreme amount of duress that I don't think most people would want to experience. So, yeah, there's definitely some more to learn about the backstory of why Weiler has placed you in these films. And then, of course, talking about, ultimately why the characters ended up in these specific films, so to speak. So there are some things that you can find within the map that are going to help you flesh out and learn more of what's going on.
Okay. Very nice. Well, I think that's most of the questions that I had. There's a lot of people asking about the shield. Will we ever get a shield?
I know someone who carries a shield in this map. I cannot say that you get a shield in this map, but there is certainly someone who's going to be carrying one around, and he is a pain in the ass.
Working against us, of course.
Always. Got to give you guys a nice bar to reach up to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, this map has been, for the team in general, I think this map has been quite a blast to work on. This is such a contrast, even from the stuff that we've done in Spaceland and Raven the Redwood. So for all of us, I mean, pouring all of the little bit of creative things into it, our design team, crazy bunch of guys and gals up there. Not to mention all the artists and all the folks that are pouring into all the content that helps bring this thing together, whether it's the animations or the characters. But this is really something, for someone that works on Call of Duty, when you step away and you work on some content like this is really game changer. This is something where it's like, okay, I'm doing something really outside of the box here. So I think it's been a lot of fun for not only us to work on it, but everyone who's had a chance to sort of go through the experience of creating this content with us. It's been an absolute blast. We've had a great time.
Awesome. Well, I think I have all my questions answered. If there's anything you wanted to specifically talk about that we didn't touch upon. Yeah,
I think aside from talking about, some of the mechanics and things like that, the theme itself, yeah. The theme itself, I think, is really strong in this map. I think it's one of the strongest ones we've done thus far.
I would agree.
Tying everything together and making it feel like a really cohesive experience. The kung fu stuff in general, I mean, it's such a departure from picking up a shotgun and blasting something in the chest with it, as opposed to, having to get really up close and personal and fight hand-to-hand combat. I love the fact that we have this sort of moment, kind of like what I'm experiencing with Toughen Up while I'm eating it there. But the gourds, that moment where you're having to sort of take the gourd out and drink it before you can actually go into your power. So there's like that tense moment, like, oh, can I get it off? Can I get this off before I get killed? So I really, really enjoy the fact that we have like this give and take, this push and pull there, which is really exciting.
Is it just me, or is there no Slappy Taffy in this map?
Oh, you never can tell.
You guys are so cryptic, man. I love it. I like
we have we also have fast travel back too, which is also handled in a completely different way. So fast travel in the past was open location, and then you could move really fast from one location to the other. In this map, we're requiring you not only to open the first location, but also to find its exit location. So within the map, there are these chi doors that you can knock down with your kung fu powers. And by unlocking those chi doors, you actually can uncover those fast travel routes so that you can move through this space even faster. And that's kind of ties into the whole theme. Like, if you were a kung fu martial artist master, if you were a ninja, so to speak, you'd be able to move and traverse through this city. If you think of yourself as like Batman, you're a vigilante, jumping across the rooftops and using all of the sort of the quick routes, the hot routes within the location. That's what the kung fu powers tie into these fast travel routes. Whether it's the one that we just opened here that drops you down back onto the rooftop, or the ones that can fast travel you from one side of the map to the other. So it all kind of ties back to that idea of keeping everything cohesive and feeling really strong and tight together.
Yeah, I like the addition. It definitely helps move around the map quicker, which is important on any map, but really bigger maps is definitely essential, I'd say.
I think these ladies want to dance.
Apparently. So we're going to complete the tiger one now?
I think we're going to go for tiger. We're going to take some tiger action on here. Let's see.
So I'm not sure you're going to want to touch on this, but a lot of people are asking about the Yeti.
Oh, that Yeti. Everybody wants to know about the Yeti. Well, I can say that Shaolin Shuffle gets us one step closer. We're one step closer to solving this massive, massive Easter egg that everybody wants to know exactly what it is. We've got some really, really lofty plans in store for you guys, so hang in there, folks. Like I said before, patience, young grasshopper.
There you go.
And we're doing pretty good. We're scene 15 is not too bad.
Hey, you guys are breezing right through this, no problems. Conveniently not going to certain areas, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not having too much of a problem. You're staying alive for the most part. You got a good team behind your back.
Yeah, I really enjoy the personalized challenges for the Kung Fu powers. Being able to rank them up feels really, really special. That kind of harkens back to things that we even did way, way back when we were working on Extinction, where you had your different class skills that you could pick up, and then obviously level those skills up with skill points throughout your progression through each of those maps. So the idea of sort of having a micro progression on top of having your just standard grind progression of gaining ranks and whatnot in zombies, I think that micro progression is really fun. There's something really special about having the ability to upgrade yourself through gameplay, and not just upgrade yourself there, but like kind of following along the same metric of the Pack-a-Punch machine, where you have the ability to upgrade your weaponry. We wanted to be able to upgrade those Kung Fu capabilities and really make you feel, ultimately, by the time you got to the end of that, like you were a ninja. Gotcha.
I'm reading the chat right now, and they're just feeding me Easter egg-related questions that I know will be more cryptic answers. Do you want to talk about the phones, the phone numbers?
Oh,
by
the
any
phone
chance?
numbers. Yeah, I would definitely play around with the phones. There are a lot of things that you can find on the phone. So definitely walk up to those phone booths and interact with the phone booths, because there is, there's going to be some interesting calls you can make.
Definitely. I feel like a lot of people don't even know how to use phone, the public payphone, just because they're so outdated now.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like cell phone all day, everywhere. It is a big throwback.
I don't even know you can go up there. A little extra rooftop there.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna pick up a new gun pretty soon, because this little
I'm thinking you might
UMD,
need to.
I like it and all, but man, it's getting hot in here.
Do you prefer going to the magic wheel, or do you prefer wall weapons?
It depends. If I have wonder weapons unlocked, then I'm definitely hitting the magic wheel more often. Otherwise, I typically have a dedicated strategy of, what I'm trying to get to and what I want to do with it. So, magic wheel, because it's kind of got that gamble of you never know what you're going to get, and the magic wheel loves to laugh in your face. So it's a little bit of a gamble. Now, if there's a fire sale going on, then yeah, I'm definitely hitting that magic wheel.
Gotcha. So last night I was playing a bit with some friends, and we noticed that there is a clock that is real time, central time, unless I'm mistaken. That was interesting to me.
There is a clock.
I've never seen something like that before, where in-game the clock is true time.
Yes, there is a clock, and you should pay attention to said clock. There is something to do with that clock.
I would imagine so. If the clock's going to keep real time. Oh, look at that. Look where we ended up going to. He realized that I
this room,
wasn't going to make it. Is there anything
Love this
special about
room.
this room that's different than the other Pack-a-Punch rooms?
I don't know. Is there?
Man, guys, this is tough. This is some tough stuff. I really, it's like you know what you want to ask, and you know what the answer is going to be already before you ask it. So do you really want to ask the question?
Just keep it coming, guys. Keep it coming. We're just glad you guys are having a good time. We're having a great time watching you guys dive in and try and solve all this stuff.
Gotcha. I guess we'll do one more before we wrap it up here. A lot of people are really asking about Willard Weiler. I feel like we've talked a lot about other things gameplay-wise. We haven't talked too much about Willard Weiler's master plan here. We did touch on it a little bit, but for new people coming in, is there anything you want to say quickly about him before we head out?
Yeah, Willard Weiler, he does have a master plan. He's had one all along. And in this episode in particular, you're going to begin to see I guess you begin to see the makings of what that plan exactly is. He's definitely got something very big up his sleeve. And yeah, if you're in for a surprise, Willard's got something pretty nasty waiting for you.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll leave it there. It's been awesome. If you guys want to check it out, Shaolin Shuffle is out on PS4. I'll be playing. I'll be streaming as well. And I'm sure you'll be playing and checking out to see who gets that Easter egg done first. But other than that, anything else you want to say?
I just want to say thank you to the Zombies community. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. We are humbled by the response to Shaolin Shuffle and all of the content that we've released thus far. As I've always said in every stream I've ever done, this game is yours, you guys, and we are making this for you. So keep coming back to us with, all the comments about what you like, what you don't like. I love engaging you guys on Twitter. So by all means, if you want to hit me up, see me at 23_Lee Ross on Twitter, and I am glad to engage with you guys, talk about content, and you never know, I might occasionally drop a hint or two out there. So keep your eye out, folks.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Take care.
一番